I've always been really involved in spiritual things, basically my whole life. I grew up going to church, and I was always in Pathfinders and involved with a lot of things. When I got to college, I tried to get involved in as many spiritual things as possible. So, I was working with campus ministries, I was leading with small groups, I was helping out at my church, teaching Sabbath school, on the leadership team, and basically I was just super involved with a lot of spiritual things. And even though I was doing all these different things, and even though I was involved in leadership, and even though I was trying to do as much as I could, it felt like God was distant. It was honestly really discouraging, because it's one thing if you're trying to put in all this work to get to know God, and then if you feel like he's not responding, it's like, wow, where is he? I believe in God. I've seen his presence before, but why isn't he responding now? One thing I've been learning is that my mindset when it came to how I approached God was wrong. Okay, am I reading my Bible enough? Am I doing these things right? And so rarely I was focusing on what God was doing. I was always focusing on what I was doing, if I was doing things right. And so one really big thing that I learned recently was the concept of Old and New Covenant. God gave them laws, and they said, okay, everything you've told us to do, we'll follow that. But then you see immediately they failed. Like the very next couple of days they're out worshiping idols and stuff. Anyways, so I had this mindset of, God wants me to read the Bible. God wants me to pray. God wants me to do this. So I'll do that, Even though I was doing all these things, I felt like it wasn't helping me grow spiritually. And what I realized my problem was now is that that's not the covenant, or that's not the relationship God wants to have with us. The new covenant relationship God wants to have with us, God says, these are my laws, now I'll help you follow them. I'll put them in your heart. And then all we have to do is say, cool, and then he'll do it. And so basically, what I've been learning so much more is, yes, it's important to read your Bible. Yes, it's important to pray. Yes, it's important to share your faith with other people. But honestly, if your focus is on yourself and what you're doing, you're not going to be growing spiritually. What helps you grow is when you focus on God and what he's been doing for you. If we're always focusing on ourselves, we're never going to move past ourselves. But when we look at God, we're going to be moving up and up and up and up. And that's the way he wants us to do it. So I just want to encourage you guys, see what God is doing. Don't focus on yourself. Yes. Do I stop it?
No. Just take.
Cut.